I think I got to pay. Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Tech Tuesday. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I know I'm sick of eating turkey. I'm going to eat something else tonight. Anyway, we have a special guest, some guy that I've known for a long time, but we really kind of talked for the first time in Maui because he came up to me after I spoke. And I'll tell you one of the things about Steve that I just love. He's a top producer, very big top producer. And what I love about him the most is he's very humble, very humble. And I respect that quality in people you cannot believe. But he's just a quiet guy that does his business. And Steve McCarthy, I'm going to turn it over to you. And the floor is yours. Tell us a little bit about you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Frank. And first off, I got to mention that office behind you is phenomenal. I could spend the next 30 minutes in there just looking at all the stuff. That is beautiful. But I'm glad to be here today. My name's Steve McCarthy. I'm out of a little town called Yuba City, north of Sacramento, California. Where me and my wife, mainly my wife, sells quite a bit of houses. We got a beautiful team full of wonderful people. We got into business. Kelly and I started getting our license at the same time before we met. And then we met while we were in school separately, came together, found out each other was in school, both of us to be investors. We both are ex-mailmen, postal workers. And we got into real estate to see investment deals first and found out we really liked working with buyers and sellers, which is kind of surprising because I can't really stand salespeople, but I love, real estate as a whole. And here we are today.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your journey, how you've come up through real estate with different companies and kind of what landed you to EXP.
Oh man. Okay. This is so I started out at Coldwell Banker.
Okay.
And what I had done is I researched online in about 3 minutes who's the best brokerage for training. And at that time, that was all over the internet. Internet never lies. So I went there and I had my first mentors who were mainly focused on like contracts and things like that. So Kelly became a real expert in contracts over the years. I've never took a liking to him. I probably couldn't write an offer today to save my life if I had to, but that's not my role. And then later we went to the next one was Intero, and Intero locally we had John Miller and Edie Miller who were just phenomenal. And I learned how to build the business off of, calling expireds, FSBOs, things like that. And I learned that by sitting next to Edie in the morning, not right next to each other, but where I could hear her. And she just happened to be one of the best I've ever seen on the phone. So she would pick up phone after phone, and it didn't matter if she called the pizza place or expired. She was turning something into a contract. So I sat there on the phones trying to emulate what she was doing next to me. I'm probably the worst I've ever seen at that time. I was so bad at phone conversations, but I was dumb enough to keep doing it over and over and over again. And eventually, and I still to this day, I think had I not built the business that way, I wouldn't have learned the skills necessary to have conversations. So I really am grateful for that time that I was so bad and that I kept doing it over and over and over again. I learned what to say and what not to say over time. And now I feel like I'm really good at that. I'm good at having a conversation and getting the walls down for people and helping them feel comfortable enough to let me know what they're actually trying to do so that I could help them. After Intero, so to give the Intero credit, they had really good training systems in place, but I didn't know what I know now. And I thought they are taking too much of my money. It's not worth it. I would go back and pay them more than the split that I had back then just to be around people like that. But and I see it now. A lot of agents, once they start selling a few houses, they don't understand the value that they're getting from, the mentors and the trainers. So I went to a boutique brokerage where all that went away. And then I was very much on my own but we found a young guy in Texas named Jay Kender, who we hired as a coach. He had a coaching company, and our first coach was Albie Stasic. And
Wow.
being around people like that was a game changer for us. You know, we got to be in rooms with people that were doing it at a much higher level, much faster. And you'd mentioned humble before, not a more humble group on the planet, just real good people. If it wasn't for Jay Kinder, Michael Reese, Albie Stasic, I'd probably be working at Walmart right now. But that they care about each person that came in the community, and really helped us learn what's the next step. And Kelly and I are pretty good copycats. So once we started figuring out what we're supposed to do, and it wasn't floor time, those kind of things, we really started to take off. And then from there, Albie had went to EXP Realty, from having an independent brokerage. And I didn't understand at the time why someone would be 100% and then go to a company and start paying them. So I sat on the side of the road with Albie for an hour and a half while he explained what turned out to be the greatest model in real estate. And I found out there's a lot more than what you pay the brokerage. I'm in a place now where I'm fortunate enough to be paid to be at EXP. And I also get to be plugged into Frank Crandall, Jay Kender. I get to be plugged into the best in the business and get my problem solved with other people that are trying to build businesses. So I thought I came to EXP for a revenue share. I was going to be Gove rich, but what I stay with EXP for today is the collaboration and being able to be around like-minded people that are growing a business. Nothing better on the planet than to be not feeling alone, which is pretty much the way I went through real estate, was figure it out yourself, So EXP was a real blessing to me. Not to turn this into an EXP thing, but that was my
right. So Steve, tell us about the production this year for you, because I know you're an Icon agent. I know you guys kill it. How's the production been this year?
This year has been a lot slower for us. Like we're still selling houses and things are still great. But it is definitely, we felt a big shift in the market where it was a lot slower. And I think it was God's way of helping us get through what was next for us. So we took on a new lead source, and we didn't have the systems and processes in place. So it allowed us to spend a little bit of time building what should have been built years ago. We got to where we're, unfortunately, like a lot of people, we were just selling all the opportunities that came our way, and boy, they were coming so smooth. I'm sure you felt it. Many in the industry felt it. You could just sell a house just about any time you wanted to. And Cheplack says a lot, it shouldn't be going back to the basics. We should have never left them before, right? Well, guilty. Left the basics and just took the opportunities and ran as fast as I could. I don't think it's wrong choice, right choice. We all do whatever we did, but God gave me a chance to slow down right now a little bit and actually build the stuff that should have been built. So we hired, you have Chris, a good looking kid right there, changed your business, it sounds like. We hired a Ricky, and Ricky is running our operations, and he's helping us complete the tasks that we didn't do before, and it's really improved the business in a major way. So sometimes the slowdown feels painful a little bit, but it's, God does things in a magical way. And I think that it was much needed for us. So still selling houses, still doing good, not as good as we were last year as far as volume, but a much needed time to step back and really work on the business.
All right. So Steve, for those out there, without going into detail and giving all your secrets away,
I'll give them away right
now. Let's talk about lead generation and where you're getting your leads from and how you're able to sell homes.
Sure. So when times got easy, we had a ton of money, and we weren't spending the time like we're supposed to prospecting regularly, which is a mistake. But I'm just being open and real with you and everybody that's watching, so that hopefully somebody can say, hey, I made that mistake and I'm going to do it different too. We were spending about $10,000 a month with Zillow. And I see people complain a lot on Zillow leads, and I know, Zillow's enemy, Zillow's a friend. I don't really care. I just want to sell a lot of houses and get a lot of clients. So with Zillow, our conversion is very, very high for Zillow. And that is because we are learners. When I would call and complain to Zillow and I'd be like, your leads suck, they're garbage and trash. They had somebody that actually cared about us that spent time teaching me how to convert. So I learned how to convert at a pretty high level through them. They took the time to teach me how to do it. So our conversion would stay around 30% for Zillow, which for us is good. That's where we're profitable. So we took on, when things started getting slow and people started pulling back ad spends and stuff, we partnered with Realty.com. Do that if it's open in your market. Phenomenal company with a ton of support. And we started a $25,000 a month ad spend with Realty.com. What that got us was a ton of leads, enough to actually shut our team down. Our team was like, no more leads, we're done, right? So this is a true story, which is terrifying. You start spending a bunch of money thinking, you're going to build up your team and provide them opportunities going into a slowdown to keep them fed. And a lot of them did not like the amount of effort and follow-up and things that, like, Frank, I'm sure you've had to do in the past. This is how we built our businesses, and follow-up and staying in touch with the leads, which is fine, for those that didn't want it. So the team that did want the leads was getting hammered. I mean, we're talking hundreds and thousands of overdue tasks in the CRM. So we had to start a hiring process to get new agents coming in. So now we're running interviews and stuff. So main lead generation for paid leads, Zillow, Realty.com. About 80% of our business still comes from Sphere and past clients, and that's staying in touch with the past clients beyond, handing them off keys or beyond selling the house, and that's staying in contact with them. And I think we're very good at that, is finding out what's the pain point now that you have the house. How can we still help you? How can we still be involved? Is there a home warranty issue? Like those things have really separated us from other people, I think. Not that there's not good people like you that do that, but I think a large majority get the commission check and then forget to keep servicing the relationship, right? So we're building relationships instead of just selling a house and getting a commission check. So
all right, Steve. So
yep.
Forgive me for interrupting, but I have to interject. Probably the majority of the people that are on this call, as soon as you said the word 25,000 a month, their head just exploded. The majority majority of people could not afford to do that. And you've been blessed enough to where you have enough business that you can do it. What would you suggest to people that can't do the 25,000, that can't do the 10,000 a month on the Zillow? What is there anything that you could say to them for encouragement to keep going?
Yes, and thank you. I blow by that because I've been suffering through it for so long. It doesn't sound like a big deal to me. Number one, there's people that spend way more, that sell way more houses, right? So just to be clear, today, $25,000 a month for me is more than I can bear. When it was only 10,000 with Zillow, it was more than I can bear. It has always been through faith that we'll reach out, put ourselves at risk, and find a way to make it work. Now, can you afford to spend the money and not do the follow-up and not do those things? Absolutely not. Like it's a complete waste. You have to be prepared to do what's necessary to close the transactions. And if you don't know how to do that, you have to be prepared to suffer and do whatever it takes. So we have never, even with our very first coach, when we called Albie Stasic, if the coaching program did not work, I was not going to be able to pay my mortgage back then. And we're talking back then, it was probably $1,000 a month,
Wow.
So, and I know there's people that's watching it right now that know they need a coach that aren't paying that $1,000 because, they're scared, and you should be. Like, it was one of those moments where that first one was, hey, we need help, and we're committed to real estate. They know real estate. We're going to put some blind trust into Albie Stasic, and It just turned out he saved me $32,000 in the first call. I was spending money I didn't have. He took a look at all of it and said, all these things, I need you to cut these off today. And that was a total of $32,000 for the rest of that year.
Wow.
So I get those numbers sound big to probably most people, and I promise you they're big to me today. If that doesn't work out, I will go broke trying to do it. But I know if I lose everything today and I get on the phone, I can build it back again. Right. So you just have to, thank you. Yeah. You have to have a little bit of faith and know that if I put it out there and I do the work, it's going to work out.
Well, to me, it sounds like your mindset is right. And I've come across realtors through my coaching and all the years in real estate, and just people don't believe in themselves. And that's a whole nother call. But the good thing about you is that you took a leap of faith with you and your wife, that you're going to do this no matter what. If you're going to die trying. And that's the biggest thing for real estate agents to overcome, is the mindset that I can do it, And obviously you've been to enough seminars, you've had enough motivation through your faith and everything else. Another thing that I've discerned that from our conversation is you need to get a coach. And everybody complains about how much a coach is. Yeah. A coaching rate is, usually $1,000 a month. That's all there is. I mean, that's on the low end too.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
On the low end. So, get a coach, believe in yourself. And so with putting kind of things in perspective, what kind of year have you had, even though it slowed down, over 10 million, over 15 million?
Oh yeah, we'll probably do. And I wish Kelly was here for the numbers, but like last year was like 60 million for Kelly and I, and we'll probably be at like, I would imagine 40 million, 45 million, something like that. We're gonna take a haircut, but we're also like we're buying a small brokerage. Everything we're doing is for growth in 3, 4, 5 years right now.
Man, you are setting your kids up for generational wealth, buddy.
Or for counseling. They may need therapy going through all these ups and downs. We don't know.
Well, Steve, we're kind of winding down here because this is a very short call, because I know people, they have other things to do. And is there anything you want to say, kind of like in the last couple minutes, to encourage people, with the market, the media, everything they're hearing about? Because I'm busy. I haven't slowed down. And what can you say to help motivate the masses?
Sure. When I started in the business, it was a time like this. It was, different, but it was, very slow. It wasn't a good time to be a real estate agent, but I didn't know that because I wasn't hanging out with people that weren't doing. I kept myself around people that were still winning and still figuring it out and still pushing forward. So right now, there's a lot of people saying that it's very, very hard, and I get it's different. And if you came on in the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, real estate's a little bit different. Like the things that might have been working for you before may not be the things that carry you through, and that's fine. But you really got to focus on not, what else can I do? What's a second job? I see a lot of people right now. It's so sad that, what's a second job? Instead of spending 8 hours working for somebody else, take 4 of those hours and just work on something new. Maybe you need to master open houses. Maybe you need to master prospecting. There's so many coaches that, like we talked about, you can call Frank, you can call, I see Julie Singh on here. Like you can call anybody that's doing relatively well, and they will help you. That's just the way people are. So go find out what you don't know, focus on it, and go all in on yourself. Give yourself a chance to actually win. Try something new if what was working isn't working anymore.
Okay, Steve, if you don't mind, could you put your phone number in the chat? so that if anybody wants to reach out to you for advice, give a call. If you could do that, that would be wonderful.
It's on the bathroom wall at McDonald's.
Man,
There
you're that's awesome. That is
Did
so
it go
cool.
in there? Let's see. Yep, there you go. Yeah, and anybody can call me anytime. I love talking about this stuff. I love trying to figure out what's working, what's not working. And I'd love to chat with anybody on here that needs a little help.
And if you have any referrals for Yuba City,
Yep.
I mean, you
Well,
can call Steve,
yeah,
and
for sure.
but you sell all over. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. I would drive 2 hours for a trailer in a trailer park if it's somebody, a new person that I can meet and work with them in their sphere, So we do that. We'll drive anywhere for the opportunity. Yeah.
That's awesome. Steve, thank you so much for coming on and sharing some pearls of wisdom with us. I know that you're a very busy man, and I'm humbled to know you. I love to be around your presence because, man, you're so quiet, but you've got a success story that is just very, very awesome. This is a recorded call. You will get it. I will send it out later today, or actually, my man Chris will send it out, and we'll get it to you, Steve, as well, so you can put it on your website and get it out to your group.
Frank, I always love chatting with you, man. I'll see you at the next event, I hope.
Copy that.
Awesome. All right. Well,
All
thanks
right.
for having me.
All right, everybody. Bye-bye.